Here's the blocks I was looking at on Google Earth. It looks like one of these cubes is just missing. There's no denying that that is 4 perfect 90-degree angles. And it kind of makes you wonder, where did the middle block go? I think these 2 blocks were actually at one point together, and it probably leaned up against this wall right here, and then it fell over, and then it split in half and became 2 separate blocks.
Urgently disable this setting because it tracks your actions and sends them to the developer's servers. I will also show you how to make your phone work faster. To do this, go to Settings. Look for the About Phone section. Then go here and tap on the build number until you become a developer. Go back, and at the bottom you will have a developer options section appear. And here we need to find system tracing. Enter it. And make sure to disable these 2 options because they record everything you do on your phone screen. Next, go to the category section and disable everything except one, which is called Power Manager. Turn off all the others because they use your phone's battery. Next, go to the buffer size and set the maximum number for each process. Done. And be sure to delete the saved records and actions that this system tracing collected.
If you flip the collar up and you can see 2 edges, it means this shirt or jacket is good. 99% of the shopper doesn't know the secret. When the fabric beneath the collar is smaller than the fabric above the collar, when they are sewn together, the smaller fabric beneath will naturally hold the bigger fabric above down. In comparison, let's look at this one. This one is brand new in the shop. As you can see, before you even wear it and wash it, that collar is already flipping up. Why? It must be because the fabric above and beneath are the same size. Now let's flip and look at it. Here you can see there's only 1 edge along the collar, which means the 2 fabrics are the same size. That's why structurally the collars are not going to be naturally curved downwards. It will be flipped up. Do not pick this one. After you wash it, that flip is going to get even worse. Now
Thomas Younghusband supposedly moved 17 to 18,000 tons. He moved 21 miles to Sydenham Hill, where they reconstructed the palace. They moved it over a 21-day period. It was built at a slightly smaller scale. It opened in 1854. Centre became a cultural venue hosting art exhibitions, concerts and various events, and became a centre for entertainment and education. So this is the reconstruction photographs I found. You can see that it was definitely a structured build, but my theory again is that this building, or some of that building, was already there, and this building was added to. They're construction crew guys, so I don't know, like, make up your own mind that maybe they had access to some occult knowledge. Maybe there was occult information they had access to.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field?
Let's talk about the fact that Seattle literally had to tear down mountains in order to build the city. People jokingly compare it to literally building the pyramids. The fact that this feat happened in America and it could definitely not happen today. It's like the greatest reshaping of topography we've seen. And yes, this picture of these giant mounds, these 100-foot bloops, are places that they couldn't tear down because people were still living on top of there and they hadn't signed the proper paperwork. Okay, let's go back to the end of the 1800s. We got a bustling port city, but it had a big problem. There was a huge hill in the way that got in the way of expansion plans. Let me introduce you to Denny Hill. It was about 220 feet high. It was a pesky pimple on Seattle's otherwise smooth complexion. It was separating the downtown from the northern neighborhoods. So this guy, Seattle city engineer Thompson, a man with a plan and a shovel, looked at the hill and said, we got to level it. We got to start digging. So the first phase of regrading the city and tearing down this hill started in 1908. They used these hydraulic mining techniques that pumped 20 million gallons of water daily from the nearby Lake Union. And these high-pressure jets just blasted the hill. So it was a huge muddy mess, and approximately 6 million cubic yards of earth were just like slushing away. Okay, but don't forget, this is a big hill. There were over 400 homes and businesses on this hill. So people weren't pleased about having to pay to be displaced from their home and then have to rebuild 100 feet lower than before. Some of the pictures you see of these little mounds, that actually wasn't the people that refused to move. It was this one guy who owned property but was in Alaska, so he couldn't sign the papers but he came back and then they could blast the mountains down. Anyway, in total, they ended up removing about 38 city blocks, and today it is a bustling neighborhood called the Denny Triangle.
Relentless, and even though Sydney was warned to be prepared, it took many by surprise. More than a month's worth of rain fell in just a couple of hours. There was flash flooding all over the city. Drivers abandoned their cars as the waters rose.
The road seemed okay, and then all of a sudden there was just this wealth of water that came through.
And that's the wettest rainfall we've had in a day, that even a daily total there since 1984.
Erinnern Sie sich an den Typ, der sagte, er hätte Glas gefunden, auf dem beim Durchschauen seltsame Objekte zu sehen waren? Er demonstriert seine Behauptung, dass Glas bei jeglichem Kontakt mit Elektrizität klar wird. Nun, vielleicht ist es eine Fotomontage. Aber was ist, wenn wir wirklich nicht alles auf dieser Welt sehen? Im Zuge der wissenschaftlichen Forschung wurde nachgewiesen, dass das menschliche Gehirn und Sehvermögen schwach und eingeschränkt sind. Sie sind in der Lage, auf das zu reagieren, was wir gerade brauchen, und sie ignorieren, was wir nicht verstehen. Unser menschliches Auge ist so konstruiert, dass es Informationen in verzerrter Form empfängt und der Rest in der Regel vom Gehirn erraten wird. Theoretisch können riesige Raumschiffe wirklich an unserem Himmel hängen und wir sehen sie nicht aus nächster Nähe.
Das ist wirklich einfach unglaublich, wirklich unglaublich. Da ist sie wirklich ganz sicher bestimmt.
You know, they had kids on displays in incubators. You know, so it's almost like you're showing people like how children are made. You're teaching them how to farm. You know, you're teaching them how to grow food. You're teaching them all these things, and it's like, do the people not know? And that's where the other part that kind of started to blow my mind. Like, why are you teaching people agriculture? Don't they already know how to grow food? Like, didn't they go across the ocean and whatever? Like, you don't know how to have food, you know? So you see all of this, and yes, it was like some strange situation where people were showed, you know, technology, and then that technology would vanish. Even the big steam engines that were just massive, you know, 10,000 square feet engines, those all went away. And like you said too, the electric trolleys, they were covering up the roads with mud so that people didn't even know that electric trolleys even exist. Because when you see this, like 1876, the Philadelphia World Fair, you see the rails that were there. And then when they had the fair, there's mud on top of it. And it's like, oh, so people can walk. That's what, that's.
Have you heard of World Fairs? World Fairs could be some of the most worrying events in the entire history of mankind. They were gigantic, large-scale events with massive buildings. In the case of the St. Louis Fair, there were more than 1,200 buildings. In fact, some of these were the largest buildings recorded in history at that time. Which leads to the question, how did they create such an event in record time? In just 1 or 2 years, how were the buildings, canals, roads, walkways, columns, arches, and pillars all constructed? How did they build it all in such a short time with such an absolutely spectacular appearance? History tells us that everything was made of gypsum and hemp. But in modern times, these events would cost several $100 million according to their original expenses. For temporary buildings, why did they have lightning rods? Why were they so massive? Many believe these were already existing cities that were found and then destroyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Were they really temporary, or are they hiding something much bigger?